Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Carmina, astrologer with Vedic principles and reader with the cards of truth. And today we are going to do a redo of the compatibility between Jonas and his fiancée Priyanka Chopra. And why we are going to do this redo? Well, this morning I got a message on my Facebook page, which is Your Stars Aligned, from a subscriber of mine who just watched the video, and she said, you know, Carmina, maybe you got the birth time wrong because I've been following Priyanka for many years and I know that her ascendant is Gemini and not Scorpio. So, I was thinking then, okay, let me check her birth time again on astro.com. And indeed, her birth time is 1:30 a.m. And in my software, I had put 1:30 p.m., which gave a different ascendant. So a lot of the things in her chart still hold true because she has the same planets in the same signs, but the houses are different now. And the compatibility report is also different between her and Jonas. So it's like 14 points different since, from the birth time that I previously used. So, you know, that's quite a big difference. I'm not going to say if it's 14 points in their favor or not. You just have to wait or just skip to the Kuta compatibility part, because I'm going to put some timestamps on the video so that you can more easily access each part. So here's how we're going to be looking at this compatibility. First, I'm going to look at her chart. Then I'm going to look at his chart because I want to see their individual openness for a relationship, because two people can be very compatible, but if they're not themselves open for relationship, they can't receive and they can interchange in a healthy manner with the other person in order to develop a healthy relationship. So these pre-compatibility factors are very, very important. Astrologer Levi Cosijn and I even did a webinar on pre-compatibility, and we posted an extract of that webinar on YouTube. I'm gonna put the link here. So first of all, we're gonna be looking at their astrological charts individually. Then we're gonna be moving on to the Kuta report, which is comparing their astrological signs and nakshatras from different perspectives. So for instance, somebody was asking me yesterday, what is Yoni? Well, Yoni, you know, the nakshatras each are associated with an animal. So Yonis is like sexual compatibility between the two animals that represent the nakshatras of the person's moon or other planets. But we'll just be looking at the moon, because if the moon compatibility doesn't work, well, there are very slim chances that anything else is going to work. So we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to be looking at synastry, planets overlapping one another, and then we'll also be looking at the cards compatibility, because, you know, I love the cards of truth. And because I recently started studying human design, we'll also be looking like very generally at what their human design profiles are, just to get an additional layer. And then we're going to get to the conclusion, like what are the main pros, what are the main cons, and my objective astrological opinion, whether they will make it or not. And yes, one more thing before we start, I'm just going to say that I use tropical Rashi. So I use the signs that Western astrologers use. I don't use sidereal Rashis, but I do use sidereal nakshatras. And people who are watching this video and are more used to Western astrology, you know, you can open your mind to the principles of Vedic astrology, because there are so many deep things contained by these ancient texts, and so many techniques that work in practical everyday life, that it would be silly not to be open to it just because the chart looks different than what you're used to. So we're going to be using the South Indian chart. The ascendant is going to be marked by 2 lines, or 1 line, and the chart is read in this manner. It's clockwise, the direction is clockwise, and the houses are marked by the little numbers, and I'll do my best to be as clear as possible and not go too deep into very detailed astrological techniques. I'm also going to say, for those who study on an intermediate to advanced level, that the Upapada I calculated from the 10th Pada, because this is the translation that I studied and it works in my practice. If you want to calculate the Upapada from the 12th or from the 2nd, do your thing. You're free to do your own thing. This is my channel. I'm doing my own thing here, okay? Okay, so without further ado, let's get to these people. Nick Jonas, he's a singer, he's an actor, he's a music producer. And Priyanka Chopra, she studied to be an engineer, an aerospace engineer, but then she became a model, she became Miss Universe in the year 2000. She's an actress in Bollywood and Hollywood, and she's, well, in Hollywood, she's an actress in a series, so she's not acting yet in Hollywood movies, and she's also a singer. So this is a bit of a background information for them. And I'm gonna start sharing the charts. 1 second. Ladies first. I'm old-fashioned, so we're gonna start with her chart. I'm also gonna say their relationship is kind of controversial because she's 11 years older than he is. But recently there have been a lot of couples where the lady is older than the man. For instance, even Prince Harry married Meghan Markle, who is older than him, and Chris Hemsworth, who is better known as Thor in the Thor movies, in the Avengers, and or the action movies. He is married to Elsa Pataki, who is also 10, 11 years older than him. They have 3 children. They seem to be doing very well. So I guess people should open up their hearts towards, relationships where the woman is older as well. I'm gonna start sharing my screen now. As you can see, I'm using the Kala software. Yes, here. So this is her birth chart with 1:30 a.m. birth time. That makes her a Gemini ascendant. And it makes a lot of sense because she has Moon and Venus in Gemini. In the other video, we also discussed Moon and Venus in Gemini. They are both very well dignified because the Lord of Gemini is Mercury, and Mercury is friendly towards both the Moon and Venus. So because of Mercury's position in the second from them, they are here in a great friend sign. So great dignities on the ascendant. So for a woman, the Moon on the ascendant makes her beautiful. Jaimini says that, Moon connected to some self factors makes one beautiful, and Venus connected to the ascendant makes her attractive and affectionate. So all good things here. Moon and Venus together, however, are a combination because are a combination that in a way is less desirable because they are not mutually friendly. Venus is neutral towards the moon, but the moon is inimical towards Venus. So these people get more emotionally needy and clingy. Let's see here, what is moon in her chart? Different distant relatives, and Venus is her soul planet. Okay, well, the soul planet on the ascendant, that's really good. And also, okay, so there are good and bad parts. The bad part, that she can get more emotionally clingy and needy, but for a woman, that's not so bad. And the good thing is that these benefics are on an angle, which is also a Dharma house. So it's really nice to have planets on the angles, especially benefics. So the first house is also the appearance, so that would make her very attractive. No wonder she won Miss World. Let's see, she won Miss World in the year 2000. She was running the North Node Dasha, the North Node time period. She has the North Node in Cancer. I think that is probably her biggest challenge because Cancer is the utmost feminine sign. It's the sign of, expressing your feelings freely, uninhibitedly as a woman, which is very important, being clear with your feelings, with your emotions. But here, the North Node brings confusion. So she gets, confused when trying to express how she feels. But that gets better with time, especially at 42 when people have their Rahu maturation. They should have a grip on what this node is trying to tell them. So at least the Lord of the North Node, which is the moon, is in good dignity, is in a good placement. So at least that helps. So I think this is her biggest challenge. The sun is also here. Mercury is here as well. Mercury helps the second house of skills and talents. The sun is a noble separator. So, here in the second house, it can separate from close family. Her father died a few years ago and she loved him very, very much. Her father is also represented by Mercury in her chart because it's the Pitru Karaka, it's the temporary significator for the father. Let's see here, Saturn and Mars with the sixth cusp in the fifth house. This may cause some health issues related to Libra, could be kidneys, could be, well, the Lord of Libra is in good dignity, so it shouldn't be so bad, but Libra is also the reproductive organs. So maybe she will have in the Saturn Dasha some health issues related to that. And it's also because of overwork, because Saturn and Mars together are a combination that have a lot of energy, but they tend to misuse it. They use it chaotically. So that can make a person pretty workaholic, and at some point it can take a toll on her health. But later on, not now. So what else can we say? Let's see, the force from the moon is empty. It's only aspected by the moon and Venus, so that's also good. The fourth cusp is in Leo, so that's good. The fourth cusp in Leo, it's aspected well by Saturn and Mars. Saturn is a separator, but it's exalted, so it won't be so bad. It's also aspected by the South Node. Let's see what else is happening here. The fourth for a woman is very important because the fourth is the peace of mind, the serenity. So it's important for a woman to benefit from that peace of mind, along with a strong moon and a strong ascendant, a strong path. Okay, so she has, I see the Bharati yoga because the Navamsha lord of the second, which is the moon, of the 11th, which is Mars, and of the fifth lord, which is Venus, is exalted and is the ninth lord, or with the ninth lord. So the Navamsha lord of the second, let's see them. Yes, so this yoga applies to her. You have to look in the Navamsha. So how this yoga works is that, you know, Bharati is the goddess of speech, of drama, of literary composition, identified with Saraswati. So, and that yoga, this combination makes the person a religious, world famous, and reputed scholar, a love for music and romance, being very attractive with bewitching eyes. All is true about this beautiful person. She also has the Kahala yoga, the large drum yoga, the Lord of the fourth and the ninth in angles to each other. So in this case is Mercury and Saturn, because they are in an angle from one another. This is also a person who feels purpose in their life, and she feels energetic and inspired. However, she also has, you know, a less desirable yoga because Jupiter is in the sixth from the moon and it's not on an angle, and this is called the Sakata Kart yoga. So this brings some unfortune, some ups and downs to the person. But however, the moon is really strong and Jupiter is also well dignified, so I don't think this will affect her so much. Of course, she has, you know, auspicious yoga with Venus on the ascendant. Moon is in this chart, it's considered waning, so it's inauspicious, but Brihat Parashara or Shastra says that the moon is the lightest malefic, so it's not such a malefic per se. She also has the sun with Mercury together, which makes her skilled, talented. Yes, what else do we have here? Her soul planet is Venus. Venus is with the moon. That's a combination for entertainment, for acting. Her soul planet is in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the actor. Moon is the planet of music. So this is a very artistic personality, a very attractive personality, as we already know from what she does. Also, Moon and Venus are both watery planets. They are very feminine planets. They make the body rounder, so they make a person more curvy, the appearance is more curvy, and she's more soothing, watery. Her Upapada is with Jupiter. That makes her a Shrimantaha. One second here. Actually, the Upapada is here with Moon and Venus. So it makes her a Shrimantaha because Moon, Venus, or Jupiter with the Upapada or Lagnapada make one a wealthy, glorious person that is very influential, which she is, of course. Let's see what she's running right now. In Charana Vamsha, she's running Capricorn, Aries. For her, Capricorn, she has the Aries Pada. Aries is the 11th of fans and recognition. And yes, in the Saptamsha, she has Rahu and Mercury. Her Darakaraka, her spouse planet is Jupiter in Scorpio. So Her Jupiter is exalted in the Navamsha, which is very nice. Yes, her Upapada, is not afflicted by malefic, so that's very good for marriage. It's in Gemini, so she's going to have a rich spouse. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, I guess that is enough. Let's look at Nick's chart. Nick Jonas. So everyone has their soul planet, which is their individual self on their path to their development, and a spouse planet, which represents the partner, the husband or the wife's planet. And it's important in a horoscope to have, for compatibility, one person, a spouse planet, to be the other person's soul planet or ruled by that planet. So, for instance, her spouse planet is Jupiter, and Nick's soul planet is Jupiter, so that's a really nice matching for them. Nick is Leo ascendant. His ascendant lord is the sun in Virgo in the second house. So see, they already some similarity. They both have Sun Mercury in the second house. So a lot of skill in bringing forward their natural abilities, their natural talents, and a lot of skill for making money, because the second house is also taking care of your financial responsibilities. He also has his soul planet Jupiter in the second house, which makes it even more important for him to take care of his finances and manifest his natural skills and inclinations. Jupiter in Virgo is not so well dignified because Mercury is an enemy. So here in his chart, it's in a great enemy sign because it's also joined by Mercury, which is really starving him. But luckily, at least the sun is delighting Jupiter, because the sun is a friend of Jupiter. So how that translates is that he may have some issues in seeing the broader picture in life, and keeping optimism. Let's see, Upapada is in Pisces. Now let's see first the male factors. The sun is in Virgo. It's in an enemy sign, but it's not so bad because Mercury is a natural neutral, plus it's delighted by Jupiter. So I would say overall the sun is better than average, so it's fine. Let's look at his 10th cusp. The 10th cusp is with a moon in Taurus, which is in Mula Trikona. So a very energized moon. Moon, as I was saying in his fiance's chart, in Priyanka's chart, is the significator for music. He has the moon in the 10th house, and of course he's a musician. He has the sun with Mercury, so of course he's also an actor. He's very focused on improving things, on improving himself, because two of his self factor, actually three, because he has ascendant lord, which is the sun. He has Jupiter, his soul planet, and the sun by itself is also a self factor. They're all in Virgo, so they're focused towards self improvement. So that's really nice for him. As I said, moon in Taurus. Yes, this is a person who I say is very focused on material well-being. He really likes nice things. He also has Venus in Libra. So he's really, he really likes the fine, the beautiful, the luxurious things in life. He likes material comfort, which is all very nice. However, there is a little downside because Moon and Venus have the same lord, which is Venus. So there may be some over-identifying of Nick with the relationship. So he might be a person who wants to get, from their partner, everything, like everything. He wants their partner to fulfill their every need. So that makes them lovesick. And sometimes these people, especially if they're not mature enough, they can be prone to cheating, but because Nick has a very strong Venus and a very strong moon, hopefully he will avoid this unpleasant situation. Or if he cheats on her, maybe he will realize, something about himself, and that will help him develop himself and not repeat this again. So the moon is very good, the ascendant is good. He also has a strong Saturn. His sun is good, so he has, he's good, he's open, he's good to go for relationships. I also like to look at the nodes. His south node is in Gemini, so he comes from a past life background of a lot of social validation because it's in the 11th house. He was used to testing things practically and interacting socially, so doing more social things, and now he needs to develop being himself and forging his own path, and also having because it's in the fifth cusp, his art, his music would have to have like a higher purpose, a more philosophical purpose. And also he has some karma with children in this life because the fifth cusp is also with children. And it's interesting that he's running Moon Venus Dasha right now. And Moon Venus in his chart are same lordship conjunction, and it's when he got engaged. In his Charanavansha, he will be running Libra soon. Venus, the natural significator for the spouse, is in Libra, so and Venus is in the third, so he will meet, I guess he was linked romantically to many women who are from the same profession as him, like colleagues, like teammates, like the third house. Also, he has in the seventh house Saturn, which would link him to older women. Saturn in the seventh is very good because it has the highest big bala, which is operating strength, and it's also in Mula Trikona, which makes it very energized and long lasting. I mean, he is very resistant to sustained effort. So, yeah, I think he has what it takes to engage in a relationship. Makes sense. Would involve him and also they haven't said it officially, but they say they will get married together. His birthday in October 6th, he's going to be running Libra Dasha, which makes perfect sense for his horoscope, for his marriage. Okay, so these two are very capable persons for relationship. With them, they have to work on not expecting everything from the partner, which is the same relationship like Venus, and she has to work on honestly and truthfully expressing her, which is which is person. And then we're going to move on to the compatibility. Okay, so that's more like it. In Kuta, it's about 7 items. See how these two people are compatible. The Veda is okay. The Veda is really important. Or if it's negative, then these people can't spend time together. Like circumstances of life and make it in such a way for them not to be able to spend a lot of time together. So relationship is 90% of the time possible. Raju is also a very difficult one if it's negative. It could prevent them from like life circumstances, like a lot of shortages that happen and a lot of obstacles in relationships. So these four are very important to have okay. And so then perfect. Then you look at the points. 27 points. Well, that's more like rather than the 13 points that we have when I used So they are super duper compatible. Their temperaments are very compatible. They can complement each other, and sexually they are very compatible. You know, there's a lot of points here. Also, they have her Venus is on his Mars. If they're conjunct within, you know, 6 degrees, and his Venus is on her Mars. They're conjunct also within, well, more degrees, but they're in the same sign. They're like within 4 degrees. No, 1 degree. So very tight conjunction. So Venus is a water planet. It's soothing, it's nourishing. And Mars is an active, burning, hungry planet. So they, the Venus-Mars conjunctions are very nice because they help nourish each other and they energize each other. So it's a very nice thing to have in a couple to have, renewed interest in one another. One thing they also have is that her Venus is on his south node, like the same degree, so this is very powerful past life connection. So I guess they interacted in the past life. Usually Venus, the south node connections are not really helpful in compatibility because they show some confusion. But if everything else is good, like that's not a reason to spoil their relationship. But I'm just saying they have a connection. They've known each other from a past life. I would say they were some teammates or something like that because Gemini is like working together, experimenting, testing things out together. So maybe they were siblings or something. They have definitely a strong connection because it's within a degree this Venus South Node contact. So it's really, really powerful. So let's see what else. They have here Sun Moon square, but that's also that. Moon Venus fine. They have a lot of points going on. Conjunctions, Mars Venus, every same Venus Mars. Venus is also conjunct Saturn. So his Venus is conjunct with Saturn. That would make him more disciplined. So her Saturn, her disciplining would make the relationship with him more focused, which is very nice. Now let's move on to the cards of truth, which is another system that I use very successfully in compatibility. Here you can see there are two charts side by side, excuse me. So Priyanka is a jack of clubs. At the core, she's a person who likes to make things happen, always start new projects. And at the core, Nick Jonas is a nine of clubs. So clubs and clubs, very compatible suits. They come from the same background, but he is more withdrawn. He's more to himself. She's more social because he also has this nine of spades on the sun card with the ascendant. So he's more of a hermit. He likes to be more away from the public eye, which is kind of paradoxical, although, because he's a celebrity, but he's been kind of private and quiet with his relationships usually. So definitely he needs his time alone. Her sun card is also a 9. Diamonds and spades are not the best compatibility, but they're 2 9, so these two cards are fine. His sun is here in the King of Diamonds. So the emphasis in his chart, I would say, are the diamonds because he has the sun, which is a self factor, and the ascendant lord in the King of Diamonds, which is a person who's at a very high level financially, very financially comfortable. He has Jupiter, his soul planet here. It's with the second cusp of financial responsibility and the 11th cusp of gain. So I think he's going to be having a very rich, wealthy, abundant life in that regard. And his path is the Six of Diamonds, which is financial validation from the world. But every time he's getting the financial rewards, you know, Pluto is here on the Ten of Diamonds card. So also, you know, he has to let go of something. You win something, you lose something. That's also gonna be a theme for him. So he's a very clubby, diamondy person, but mostly diamond. So he's very focused on concrete things, on material things. He's, you know, focused on increasing the value, the worth, concrete worth of his practical skills, of his, you know, singing, as well as his financial skills. And he's attracted to someone he can be friends with, someone that makes him inspired, which is the Four of Clubs, and someone which is also, like I mentioned several times, a colleague. His Venus and Moon are also here. So it's very important for him to have this intellectual, you know, this mental connection, to have the same jokes, the same humor, to have this friendship going with the person. Now let's look at her chart. So she's a Jack of Clubs, of course, also very intellectually oriented. Her path is a Six of Clubs. So it's very important for her that she's validated by the world in a more, you know, for him, it's more important to be validated on a material level. And for her, it's important to be validated on a creativity level. But these are very compatible paths. You know, the Six is fulfillment, validation from the world, material and intellectual. So very important compatibility factor, nailed it here. Also, let's see. So she's, her sun card is a diamond, her moon card. She had a more tough upbringing than he did, because she has the Seven of Spades in the moon card. I wonder if she had like health issues during her childhood, or, you know, because it's also connected to this Two of Spades. So it's like finding a remedy, finding what she needs. Let's see, her ascendant is on the King of Clubs. Their Mercury cards, very compatible, very, very compatible. So she's also a person that, you know, will reach a high level, but for her is like with her creativity, with her inspiration. Her soul planet is Venus. Yes, definitely. They're both kings. They are kings, as if we don't know that already. They are, you know, they're very high level people. They're very specialized. She's also very interested in expressing creatively, so they have so much in common. For him, the Venus cards are, you know, quite compatible. And the Venus, the planet, is more compatible than Venus, the card, although they are four, so they are into stability and safety. She's more devotional. She's more into, you know, I think she's more emotional than he is. Although he has, you know, a king here, it's with Pluto. He has a two here on the moon card, so he's also lovey-dovey. She has, you know, a difficult Venus card because she has Pluto, Saturn, and Mars here. So this Venus card, this is what is fulfilling to her. So for her, I think it's very important that her work, and, you know, always when she's dealing with obstacle, her faith is very important, because the Four of Hearts can be like a temple, can be like a very spiritual setting. So for her also, it's very important that her home is decorated in a way that is very like an altar, like a shrine, you know. It's very important for her to have this spiritual connection, this devotional aspect. Yes, so I would say that this is, you know, a little blemish on her side. These three cruel planets on the Venus card, which show fulfillment. So I guess she's more fulfilled also intellectually than emotionally. So probably when she was younger, she was looking for more emotional fulfillment because also Ketu is on her heart. But now she's more, you know, also on the path of finding herself, the Two of Spades, finding what works for her. Two of Spades is very compatible with the Jack of Spades. The North Node cards are the person's insanity. So they have to have compatible insanity. So they understand each other. They take risks. They are also very focused on their path. So yeah, I can say, you know, I would see some difficulty maybe with, you know, starting a family because he has this Six of Hearts on the Jupiter card. He has a Jack of Diamonds and they're both very passive. So, you know, when starting a family, maybe they, you know, will wait for the other person to make the first move. But Jupiter for him is on a Two of Clubs, and for her is on the for him is on the King of Diamonds, which are compatible. So I guess they can work it out together. So I would say they are more than average compatible. For her, this is a little issue and this is a little issue. So her self-fulfillment, she has to learn how to be fulfilled with herself and develop, you know, a relationship with the divine. And for him, this Moon Venus thing, he, you know, he has to not fall in love with his colleagues. Like, please, Nick, don't fall in love with your colleagues because this is the third and the 10th card. So in order to make things work, just focus on the positive aspects of what you have together because you have a lot of good things going on. I said I would also share a little bit about the human design. Just 1 second. 1 second. So Nick Jonas, I see that he is a projector. He's a projector and his strategy, his life strategy is to wait for an invitation. So he's good at guiding, he's good at implementing, but he has to wait for somebody to tell him, hey, do this. Like for instance, at 7 years old, he was discovered in a barber shop by an agent who invited him to work in theater. And ever since he's been having success because that's the signature of a good projector, it's success. Also, his profile is a 2-4, which is the opportunistic hermit. So it's a person who's waiting to be again invited to do things socially, otherwise they withdraw in their cave. And his incarnation cross is the right angle cross of Eden. So the thing is, like, he's kind of looking for an utopia, like a heaven on earth situation. So I guess that's also something that can relate to the Moon Venus connection, like very idealistic in relationships. So he has to watch out for that. Now I'm gonna say a few words about her chart. Let me see where the screenshot is. I know she's a generator. She is a generator, so she's here to work hard. Her incarnation cross is, if I remember correctly, the cross of satisfaction. 1 second. Where is it? Is it here? Yes, I found it. Let me share it. Share screen. So she's a generator. Her strategy is also to respond to actions. Her incarnation cross is the left angle cross of obscuration. And from what I read is, you know, she tends to get lost in her interest, in her passion, in her hobby, and forget about everything else in the world. So I guess when she's in love or when she's in love with the project, like, she forgets everything else that's happening. Her profile is 5-1. So she's like, she has a lot of occult interests And she's also an investigator, which is the one profile. Yes, so for her it's very important to always follow her passion and always only do the things that she likes, not the things that other people impose on her. She should only do what she is passionate about, and then she will be satisfied. So I hope you enjoyed this compatibility reading. I'm gonna do also Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth very soon. This Sunday, I'm going to do a Cards of Truth webinar where we're going to be looking at all your questions and answers. And I'm going to be doing the Five of Diamonds card tomorrow. Okay, so see you soon. Check out my website, yourstarsaligned.com, for readings and courses and articles. Give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, see you soon. Bye.